I like to just kind of throw all of my ideas at a piece right out of the gate, like everything that I'm hearing. And also kind of like wanting to bring what I do in the studio to a live setting in a way that is natural, and being able to just kind of create and perform a writing process live. Hi, my name is Jimmy LaValle. I make music as the Album Leaf. We're in my studio here today, and I'm going to show you a little bit of my process. Most things start with either beats, melodies, keyboard sounds, tones I've kind of created and recreated. I have a lot of synths here in the room that I really dial in my own tones on and use them as kind of inspiration and starting point. The newest piece of hardware that I got was this Peak 3 oscillator, 8 voice, a lot of built-in effects, and it's just really kind of easy to come up with like really nice patches. So I started with this tone here, and then added in this, and then I'll use this Minotaur from Moog to kind of come up with bass lines on the fly. I like the bass to be melodic and to run a lot of the melody and to kind of add some atmosphere. I have this actually, when it gets down to it, it's actually a voice that I've sampled and just kind of taken a chunk of and looped, manipulated, tuned, filtered, etc., etc. Throw a verb on it and pitch it. In this particular song, I was just kind of feeling this groove, I guess, and just kind of like where it's at, and like, you know, there's no vocals on it, and a lot of stuff I do is instrumental, so there's kind of like a trick as far as like how do you create a song without vocals to keep things interesting. You know, you can kind of bring in different elements and different parts to kind of like accentuate and like introduce new sounds here and there. So I have a lot of samples and toms and just drums that I've loaded up on my SPD, and I'll use that to kind of create more drive on it. Find a good moment and just make that a nice little loop. Of this track now happening, can kind of like start to kind of map it out now, just as far as like building it in certain places, creating space, creating atmosphere, and trying to like make something that's repetitive, interesting. That driving toms coming into. Second pass is where I start to use output stuff, specifically analog strings. I'm really picky about string samples. I just feel like no matter what, you can't really get the response of a violinist, but analog strings is the closest thing, if not the best that I've actually experienced. So I started with the Wobbling Patch. The engine in the inside of the analog strings is really, really powerful. There's 2 voices, and you can do a global effects run simply by clicking and turning things on and off. And also the macros are really cool because they're these sliders that have really cool wires. The interface of it just looks awesome. One voice is a piano sound, Piano Wander, which is under the creative section. There's 3 different sections, orchestral, synths, and creative. And then within that is also another 3 libraries of one-shot, pad, and tape. I mean, there's just an endless amount of options with creating sounds and just getting inspired. So I use that patch to kind of double this voice line that's going on, duplicated and brought down the same track into the send to the analog strings. The other thing with analog strings is you can create your own. So that's really cool, this punch sound, which is under the synth library. And then to add the strings to it is kind of get it into these pizzicatos. And that's a little bright. I'm gonna go in there and just turn on the EQ or the filter and just take a little bit out. Delay, so it has a little bit of play. The Arpeggiator is really cool too. Same function too, that you can arpeggiate one voice or the other, but for this reason, I'll use both. Also, you have tuning options right here, so it could be cool to get lower. The random button on the pizzicato side, and it just created this cool polyrhythmic thing. Sweet. I'm done. Maybe put some global reverb on there and took it down an octave. Actually, that filtered pizzicato, I'm going to bring it back out. It's getting a little buried in the mix. I like to take organic things. I use that human voice as a drone. This one is my son. He and I sometimes jam together down here, and he loves to sing into the mic. So I'm gonna take a snip of him somewhere in here and turn it into a synth.
Oh, you wanna hear it? But wait.
Directing, always directing me. This looks pretty good right here. Yeah, I'm gonna take that little section right here. We're gonna crop that sample. And then I'll use simpler. I have a tuner in just so I can kind of see where I am. I want to have that be C as well. So now I've got a little bit of C, and he's got a little bit of warble in there, which is fine. And then you can also go in and start to kind of mess with the ADSR of it. Here we go. I'm gonna have to go over there and affect the loop of it. I want to get a little bit closer. Cool. Put a little verb on that. That came from this. Turned into this. And I could use that to start some new song from that. That was a look into how I do stuff here. Hope you guys learned something, and thanks to Output for having me.